welcome to our Ascension show. Yay, Ascension! We're going to talk about the New Earth Star. So in my headings, I'll just put NES. It's just a lot easier than writing the whole thing out. And we're also going to tap into, we're going to talk about source sculpting, what that is, and maybe tap into a few cards today as well. We're just going to have real casual fun. I want to practice some of my gifts. And so just tapping into the collective, if there's any messages that need to come in from the collective. So if you'd like to be read, your teams won't show me into your fields if you don't want to be read anyway, so don't worry about it. But if you want me to read anything or provide any answers, then just do an affirmation of opening your divine sacred heart, and then just keep your divine sacred heart just open and visualizing all that we've been practicing as far as taking care of your multidimensional fields, right? We want to get everybody used to working with your fields every day, talking about spirit every day, harmonizing with spirit every day, asking spirit in to commune with you, asking spirit to be a part of your life every day. It will be a really big part of how we begin to take care of ourselves as we become more celestial, as we become higher vibrational, understanding ourselves as multi-vibrational, multi-dimensional beings that are based on the quantum aspects of all that is the omnipresent, as all that is the omnipotent, which is Source Creator, allowing us to get better entangled at the very molecular structures of life, and that will give us better manageability and better commandmentship of health and wellness. And so just use visualizations as much as you can. There's beautiful binary beat meditations online, and they give you beautiful crystalline light imagery to move with that light through the body, through the various aspects of the body, and have a clear intention of what you want to work with. I'm a huge proponent of journaling, huge proponent of how it allows you to prove to yourself and give yourself celebration, to look back and see how far you've come, to see the various aspects of self that you've worked on, as I've shown you in all of my... So we're going to be talking about health and wellness today. And we're going to just tap into the fields and see what the Celestials have to say. Did everybody have a good sleep? Is anybody sleeping well? Is everybody doing good? Everybody doing good? How's everybody doing? Good to hear from everybody. Anybody would like to book a session, collaborations that would like to connect with me, paypal.me/Joanna L. Ross. That's me. And so on your journal pages, I just made these up when I was doing some of my live webinars and my live, and we would just work on these sheets. And so doing your daily ascension path work is every morning is doing your daily path work to set your day up for the intention, direction, and focus of your energy, because you now know that you're a multi-vibrational being in the multi-vibrational universe, and it's really important that you set and you have intentions for your energy, you have intentions for your direction of your, hello, sweetheart, so good to see you. So good to see you. It's so good to set your intentions for the direction of your energy. There's going to be lots of shifts coming up over the next little while. Some of us have been feeling them, so I'm really, really excited about them. And we've talked about the Syrians, the Syrian beings that were helping us bring down species into the New Earth Star grid systems. And so New Earth Star, they were showing me what that looks like in the plane, the interdimensional plane that it's done within. And we sometimes think of plane as a plane that goes, as a horizontal, but there is also vertical planes, and that's just the imagery between seen and unseen, and then they move within, because Celestials, they're so high advanced, they can do anything, right? And so we all see, I just wanted to give recognition to all the work that we do for those of us that are light workers, that we work on our grids and we work on the collective every day with regards to clearing and cleansing the social structures, clearing and cleansing shadow government, clearing and cleansing, and bringing light to all those things that need to have light brought on them. And we all see what's been happening in the social collective as far as North America. There's lots within the social collective of the governments that are changing in Canada and the US. I know that if everybody's seen the news just in the last couple of days, there's been so much changing. And so we're really, really happy about that, because they are now recognizing that we do need higher light intelligence to move in alignment of a 5D Earth. We can no longer have broken systems and broken structures with broken leaders move into higher vibrational divine light systems. We actually need everything to move up and be aligned with it. And that's why we've created the sacred Trinity structure of how you align your career and your vocation, so that you know that you're with your career. I do vocational alignment sessions, and they're usually for about 45 minutes, but they've never had them at 45 minutes. They're usually an hour that they work out to be even more than that. And it's just about you determining what skills, talents, and wisdoms do you want to use for your new vocation, and then creating that foundation within the sacred Trinity so that you are aligned and there's no middlemen, right? It is just your straight alignment with the heavens, and that is the highest efficiency, highest focus. And so you're clearing and cleansing out additional costs, positions that can be refined and defined. You know, usually when I was back in the work world, whether it be a bank or the government, I would often do that. I would often look at the bigger scale of something, and I would see how things could be refined. And so most often than not, most companies are not working within a higher vibrational alignment because they're just used to working within old structures. And so there's going to be a lot of changes. So really celebrate the changes that are coming in the collective. Try not to get involved with any protests. You know, you can always use your voice for positive resolve and building bridges. So have that be as the new 5D. You know, if you're a light worker and if you're choosing to be a light worker, you're choosing to use all that you are as your legacy. You know, this is why we come on and do our show, so that you can take time in the morning and at night to really prepare your life, prepare your day, and really set the grounding foundation for your legacy. What does your sacred Trinity entail, and what is your most highest excitement? It does have to be aligned with your divine sacred child. Why are you coming forward, and what is your highest excitement? And that's what we design all of our sessions around, because you shouldn't be doing anything you're really not excited about, right? As we've said, oh good, I can't wait to hear about it. I also too, so the Syrians are already here. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So we're going to have a really fun time today. So we want to just know that all of our my channel is about preparing and aligning and working within being a higher vibrational multidimensional being, right? So that you're allowing yourself to create your new 5D Earth. And so we work on understanding your multidimensional bodies, understanding the DNA, understanding your soul's blueprint, which is what I focus on. And then in that soul's blueprint, how to create the purest alignment for 5D Earth for your specific skills, gifts, and talents. Remember, not every timeline and not every lifetime and not every cycle of ascension you're meant to be on the stage, being the front and center. You have to take cycles where you are down and out. You have to take cycles where you are sitting down. You have to take cycles where you are the one in the trenches. That's how you earn your dodecahedron. That's how you earn your ranking. That's how you earn your oneness with Source. You have to know that Source is with you on every step of the way. And why are you going through what you're going through? Most of us that have been on the spiritual journey for a very long time, most of us take throughout a 6-month process. We usually take a week where we're just with Spirit, just to reconnect ourselves more deeply with Spirit, more deeply with our guides, more deeply with the planet, because it's essential. We have to grow within our spirit. And we're finding now that in everything that I teach and everything that I've been shown, obviously I'm still alive, there is nothing without spirit. And if you're not spiritually abundant, you're bankrupt. And it has to be, we have to start taking on those energies for those of you. They're just showing me this beautiful, lovely vision of those of you in the collective. Your feet are anchoring as you've chosen within your hearts, you've chosen within your purity consciousness that you do want to be a part of the grounding crew of New Earth Star. And that means that you're willing to release what no longer is as being as nourishing to your soul. So look at every day you're waking up as how can you nourish your soul? And you are a multi-vibrational being, you are a multi-dimensional being. And many of my classes that I'm going to start holding again, and then live events that I'm going to start holding again, and traveling and meeting more people and doing hands-on healing, those are my intentions for the new year. And so look for me on the calendars of the year of where you're at, and I'm going to be hopefully getting to a few locations around the world so that we can do more divine source communion and higher light communion with our celestials and our teams and the angels that will come and help us with our healings, and they'll assist us with higher vibrational knowledge and wisdoms. And just every day before you get going, just have that intention to set a beautiful foundation for 5D and have it be all encompassing of light. So asking in the light, seeking in the light of Source, seeking in the light of Source's healing, seeking in the wisdoms and intelligence of Source, that I would have never known the depths and the wisdoms of what I've learned in such horrible situations. And it brings, sometimes I feel so silly because we look at our times of struggle, and we look, and I'm not one to I've never been one to complain at all. Like I have a very high pain threshold. I've always been told that, and I just take things with the grain of salt, and I just keep moving, right? I don't stop to think about, how much pain I'm in. I just keep moving. That's part of the the personality that I've been born with. Thankfully, luckily, Source gave me those perseverance and resilience energies within my DNA. But I've never really complained, and most people couldn't go through what I've gone through. But part of going through those hard and difficult times, Source really does prepare you to be condensed and contracted and expanded, and you have to go through the breaking. You have to break down all of the densities from the old version of self, the old ego, and start really maturing as a spirit. But you can't do that unless you're actually sitting down, you're ready to face and excavate and cultivate, like a garden. And the beautiful clients that I have, they've been so very brave to look at those parts of the garden and parts of their home and parts of their family and parts of their histories, and look at those corners and under the rugs and in the the junk drawer, and why every home has a junk drawer, right? And all of those places that we don't want to look until it's absolutely necessary, until you're ready to move the next day, and all of a sudden you're going through this drawer that hasn't been looked at in 10 years. And all of a sudden you're culling all of these experiences out that really purge and should have been purged a while ago, because you carry those energies around with you. And I'll give you an experience the other day in the Truth and Reconciliation Day. And I was just sitting at a coffee shop, and I noticed this woman, she just kept looking at me. And of course I'm very open, but I was listening to something at the time, and I looked over at her, and I saw her that she was crying. And she was an elder lady, she's about 80. And she was an Aboriginal native. I call them First Peoples. That's my name for them, because they were the first peoples on Earth, from the very ancient histories of natives and the indigenous peoples. And so I call them First Peoples. And so she was crying, and she had had a fall earlier in the morning, and her eye kept watering. And she had spent like 7 hours or something in the emergency room. And so she kept dabbing her eye because it just kept watering, and she had banged her head on the corner of the counter as she kind of fell down. And she was sitting there alone, and I'd noticed a few of the other people that there was these special T-shirts that people were that could buy for the Truth and Reconciliation Day. So there was a few of them because they're where I live. The indigenous peoples are there's a great part of our population, and I've grown up with the indigenous peoples. They've always been a part of my scenery. And so they've always been a part of my school. They've always been a part of my teachings. One of my very first books I got from my granny, the beautiful Divine Feminine that she was it was about an Ojibwe boy, and she gave it to me, and it was a very advanced book. It was written by an indigenous author, and she gave me little Aboriginal dolls. And she would always give me and gift me these experiences in the Aboriginal gifting and the wares. And there was always these gift shops around where she lived, where they would bring their wares and they would sell them in the little stores. And so I'd always had those gifts growing up. I was the only one. My granny wouldn't give the indigenous dolls to my sisters, but she gave them to me. I felt very lucky. She even gave me 2 one year. She forgot that she gave me one, and she gave me another one. They were little stand-up dolls, and it had a little leather outfit and with the tassels and things like that. And it had the Aboriginal, the original indigenous headbands for when the women were shamans, and they took on various roles, and they would have these various medallions in their headbands. And so since a young child, I was always very connected with the land. Always, I was always on the land. I was in the garden more than I was anything else. And in the trees, right? The monkey land, my beautiful excursions in monkey land with my pretend friend, my pretend Pleiadian boyfriend. I called him my boyfriend. And so I think I've gone through life with more of my pretend boyfriends than real boyfriends. It's quite funny. I should write that I'm going to put that in my 5th book. And so anyway, she was crying, and she said something. She kept looking over at me. She wanted to talk with me. And so I went over and I sat with her, and she was telling me these beautiful stories about her, like all of these experiences that she had gone through in her life, and how she had changed and altered a few people that were going down a wrong path. And just in her divine feminine wisdom, she was bringing these young men back to a respectful place of the divine feminine and seeing divine feminine with respect. And she was telling me these stories. I was not prompting anything. She just said, and then this happened, and then that happened. So it was a very synchronistic, it was one of those things Source Creator had set up for sure. Because people, I just know those situations where from across a coffee shop or across the street, somebody's looking at me and I get flagged over or something. There are those situations where people are meant to be sitting in front of me. And so she ended up telling me all of these experiences, and then I started channeling all of the people that were passed in the other realm, and they were coming by to say that she had been a great experience of the Indigenous peoples to keep the stories going, because we had talked about how the younger generations now, because of the distractions with technology, because of the many woundings they've gone through over generations of being disconnected and having that non-integration with the rest of society, and having those continuous integration healing experiences, that the society has really left out. So I wrote a little piece on the YouTube the other night about having better healing systems to be on an integrative processing for daily experiences, for their shamanism to be brought back to life within the rest of our society's culture, and to bring them back in widespread form, and have them a part of our everyday community and conversation, because it's so important. I've learned so much from my granny, and from where, of course, all of the sacred retreats that I go to. I've been in my past, I went to shamans, I went to specific, natives and aboriginals that lived from the land, so that I could gain and glean from that wisdom, right? So we definitely need their information for those higher vibrational healings for 5D Earth. And I was just exploring with her about all these beautiful things that she had been through. And she was so beautiful. And then so after I was like bringing through these people that had passed on the other side, and just letting her know that they loved her, and letting her know that they were with her. And I was just validating the names that were coming through in the channel. So she was very happy to hear from her sister and her aunt and her one of the men she used to work with way back when she worked at she worked in an indigenous museum in the coast of California. So we brought through some of those peoples from there, and then her tribe came through Father, and the Father said, can you do an initiation with her where you're sitting? And I said, yeah, absolutely. We were in the middle of the coffee shop, right? So I said, when the Father asked me that, I said, absolutely, yes, I'm here, yes. And so now I realized why she was looking at me, because she was inspired by her teams, and she was very open to her guides, and she was very open to just living life. She was a very open-hearted lady. No closure to anything. She was just open for anything. So I said, would you mind if I gave you an initiation of the 4 corners? And she said no. She let her eyes opened wide up, and she said, oh yes, please. And so she sat with her hands open. This is 80-year-old beautiful indigenous lady. I was so blessed by her stories. I felt so honored. And then Father said, do a 4 corners initiation with her. And so her tribe came in, and the men were at the back and the women were in the front, and there was these long lines of the women were in the front and the men were in the back, and the men were drumming, and the women were having their hands open, initiating her into the 4 corners. The Father called it the 4 corners of the earth initiation. That's what the Father called it. And so through the Father, I gave that initiation, and I didn't ask any questions. So she just sat with her hands opened, and I did some mudras that I was guided to, and then I did light language. And then as her tribe was standing drumming, I was telling her, I said, just to let you know, there's a line of 10 men on either side, with 10 women on either side, and they're initiating you into this next version of your own spiritual shamanic entryway, because you had done such great work in your life, and they want you to know that they're very happy you're continuing the stories of your peoples. And I gave her that that great deep appreciation that I know I have as a divine feminine of wanting those stories to be brought forward, that I gained so much as being a healer and a teacher of the earth, and bringing those energies back up from the earth, knowing what I know about energy and knowing what I know about Gaia, and how much we appreciate and have lost that connection of all of our peoples. And so I felt very, very blessed. And so I gave her that initiation, and she had like little tears in her eyes, but she was such a sweet, sweet lady. And I said, okay, so you've been initiated to the four corners of the earth, and this is your next stage of your spiritual journey. And I said, if you'd like me to come out and do any speaking with any of your, your peoples, I would love to. I would love to. I would love to be a part of any healing connections that you have, and for me to help integrate the peoples back into our everyday experience and communication. I think it's so very important. And so, anyways, I was very, very pleased. And then after she left, she thanked me, and we said our goodbyes, and I gave her my contact information. But she was such a lovely lady. And I said to the father, I said, are you sure that I was okay to do that? I said, was it okay? Did I do okay? And the father said, yes, that's your role now. Part of your role of being a creator God and a leader on the planet is to initiate those that we send before you. So that she was sent before me by her tribe, to help initiate her and to help her through. They showed me. They've been really showing me all of these new ways that light workers will be using the Gaia energy and be using the celestial energy, our celestial gifts and skills, to assist spirits and energies move in and out of dimensions, to help transition bodies, to help transition energies and informations. And so I really see them, as I told you yesterday in the video, so go back and listen to that again, because there are codes in there, of the interdimensional portals of the animals being shared with the planet. And so that's just that's an example. So that was giving me an example of doing a four corners initiation for her, that her energies and all the stories that she's brought forward are going to help in the collective, and then help her move into her next initiation for her continuance of her spiritual experience. Her soul is progressing even at 80. And so I was so happy. It was very, very happy. It was a very, very happy moment for me. And because earlier in the day, I was feeling kind of down on myself, because, it's like, okay, well, how much do I have to keep asking for, the things that were taken from me to be returned? And I sometimes get so caught up in all the things that have been taken from me, and how wrong it was to be so wrongfully raped and stolen from and frauded against, and all of these things, that these people with so much money, these people with so much arrogance, and these people with so much resources, the haves, that they could take 5 minutes to even send a portion of what they had stolen back to me, and they just hadn't. And it made me feel kind of sad. And then I was telling the father, after I went through this initiation, I said, well, I feel bad for focusing so much on what, here I was, worried about the monies that people weren't sending me. And I'd been asking for so very long, and here I was in such a state of poverty and lack, and yet I was blessed with this beautiful situation that was so much more spiritually abundant. So that's the point of my story. That even if you don't have all of the things, which I am so grateful for Mother, Father. And that's part of my story too, is that even if you're in those situations where it seems like that financial struggle, you'll find ways to simplify and make life easier for yourself, whether it's a vagabond lifestyle, whether it's to simplifying your home. There's going to be a lot of changes financially for humanity, especially in North America, because we want to be leaders of the way. We want to be leaders of the way to say we can simplify and we can bring different changes to our financial structures, so that all are being fed and nourished, and we can really look at holistic and shamanic and earth healing as a way for us to feel more connected with our planet and with who we are as spirit, which is what we should have always been. But just to let you know that if you focus and you intend throughout the day that your beauty and your soul beauty and your spirit beauty and all that you are as that, can you give me a word, Father? I want that word that you had with me the other night. It's the forever lasting beauty and the love that is eternal, because Father is working with me right now and taking me kind of in the back, taking me in the back rooms, if you will. And I just see he and I walking in back rooms, and he's really cultivating me to be these are the things you can't pay for. And it doesn't matter how hard your path is and the things you don't understand at the moment, that there's always blessings that will come through to make your path easier, but you don't know how it will come or how it will look. But that the tangible moments like those you cannot buy, and you couldn't have planned it, you couldn't have orchestrated it. It's something that the divine places in front of you, and your gifts and your skills and your talents will allow you to bring what you are as this beautiful dodecahedron to somebody else that just lights up their dodecahedron. And I know that my clients that we've worked with for many years, you're doing the exact same thing in your vocations, because you've put so much of your soul's honor, you put so much of your soul's gifts into your vocations. You've put so much, pride, right? You're not going to give up on what you just love to do, and you're just doing naturally. But now that you're doing it as vocations, and now you're honoring yourself in different ways, it's no accident. Because Source wants you, as we were talking about in all of my videos, and why we're getting away from all of the people that have been doing so many wrong things to be seen in the public, and to be seen and cloned, and to be looking like the next your 5 minutes of fame, and all of those things that people have been so misled and superficially misled. We're now going deeper and knowing that you're never ever going to have longevity. You're never going to have the true light upon you, if you will, unless you're doing what your soul's calling is. And Source proves it to me all the time, right? And we have those little moments of woe is me, which I did. I gave myself permission for that, because it's been so. This lifetime for me has been very. It's been such a selfish experience of everybody that's been in front of me. And Father said it was very purposeful. I had to be broken and expanded so many times so that I could have that resilience to be a leader and lead people through tough experiences, and know that there's going to be so many rewards that you can't just explain, and you can't plan. You can never predict. You couldn't write anything that Source Creator brings before you. I couldn't have written it. She could have sat anywhere in the coffee shop, but she sat right across from me. And I know absolutely that it's an experience that her tribe gave to me. Like, that's the whole thing about what I do, is I know that it wasn't just about me giving her that initiation. It was also them gifting with me, stepping up into this role of planetary. So I know that when I'm going to be doing my traveling, because I'm so spiritually abundant, that's my role, and that's the Father's wish and my soul's wish, because I have so much shamanic experience, I have so much spiritual experience, I have so much celestial experience that I have to share. Right? I have to share it with people that are going to be taking on these beautiful stories of the land and stories of our peoples into new ways and into new generations. The star seeds are going to need these stories. And so please, as I've said in many of my videos since KCOR days, when you have your family dinners, talk about the elders, and talk about your grandparents, and talk about their struggles and how did they fix things when they didn't have the things to fix things, and instead of having those days where the children are in their rooms with their electronics 24/7, come down and have purposeful dinners every night, and have all of the electronics shut off, and communicate, and have game night, and go for walks in nature, and start building family stories, start building those family legacies. It means so very much to the younger starseeds, because they retain everything. And even though they might have a distraction of the electronics, they'll retain those, which I'm so very happy to see as well, because I've had this 6-year departure from my kids, and going through all of these gang stalking and experiences. And Spirit has shown me that all of the work that I poured so much into all my kids, and I told them, I would talk to them daily about, the galaxy and the universe, and I would teach them about, spirit, and I would teach them about the soul, and I would teach about very advanced topics. I was always very advanced with my kids. I knew right when I knew, the moment I met my children, that they were so very advanced, and I poured everything I could into them. And I knew that, if I gave them as much as I could internally, and with the love that Source showed me, and just cultivating spirit, and cultivating Source, and cultivating spirit, and cultivating Source, that it doesn't matter how the outer world treats you, you're going to be so resilient you'll get through it. Because that is what takes you through. It's not the money that will see you through, as we've been shown, because my ex and the people that he was involved with, they were far more rich and resourceful than I had nothing, right? 20 cents is in my wallet right now. No, I don't even think I have 20 cents. You know, I've had nothing, and I just get by and I meet people, and a kind man, bought me coffee yesterday and bought me breakfast, and I said no to breakfast. I just wanted the coffee, right? Because I'm trying to fast. So all of these things just make sense, right? And so I focused everything that I did. I focused because I knew that it was, for me as a child, I was very spiritually turned on, but there was nobody around me to nourish me. So I had to do it all myself, and plus I had to counsel the people that were dysfunctional in the house and try and make sense of what the hell I was sitting within. This is the home you brought me in? Are you serious? And they tried their best, but it's just, who they were as the dysfunctional beings and the stories that I chose to walk into. But, so all of those things were very important for me to pour into my kids, and I was, kind of known as the helicopter mom because that I was very protective, and I was very, I just adored like the ground they walk on. They're like angels. The ground they walk on, I would praise. I would praise the ground they walked on, and when they came in the house, and anything that they did, and anything that they grew on, and I would just pay so much attention in awe. Wow, they chose me. I'm so lucky. So Spirit did show me that all of that pouring into them that I did, they needed that time apart from me to grow into the people that they were going to choose to be, and not have me direct them so much because I was such a hands-on mom. I mean, that's what I wanted to be, a hands-on mom. Right? I was teaching them from the second they came out of my womb, and I was just loving them and honoring them and just loving every bits and pieces of it. I just love them so, so much. And just allowing them to become their own people, and trust them and trust your kids, which we've said many, many times, because parents seem to look at their children as the younger version, and they're not directed, but they are. They're so very directed. They have guides and they have masters, and they're here with their own soul's blueprint. So give them that, which I've talked about being a new age parent, and this new 5D parent is always empower, inspire, and encourage. And when you give those things to your children, moreover than telling them what to do or giving them advice what direction to take, just allow them to make their own choices. Allow them to be so self-sufficient that they won't need you. You want them to be self-sufficient in the world. You want them to be early leavers of the house so that they can explore and express and experience the 3 E's, all that they are, and start cultivating that knowing with Spirit, that knowing on the planet that they can navigate and go anywhere, and they'll be okay. So give them all of those encouragements to know that it's going to be a different world, and it's going to be the world that they've come here to know. Because the kids in today's day and age, they're not fitting into the broken structures, and they all feel a little bit lost and awkward. So now we're here to create something that's much more tangible in the soul's experience, and how the soul wants to be nourished, how the soul wants to be expressed, how the soul wants to be experienced in all that it is. I know I do. I find it, all of us that we've been through so many different types of relationships and even friendships, you make those conscious decisions, and you make those mindful decisions to say, I want something that's a bit more giving. I want something that's a bit more nourishing. I'm not being nourished in any manner. And those are parts of the reasons why I chose divorce way back when. There was no way that I was being nourished on any level. And I knew it for a very long time, and I'd tried different things, but my teams were also suggesting that there was going to be a lot of growth for both of our paths that were going to go in perhaps different directions. And so the divorce was the best option at the time for the children and for myself, because I needed to be on a specific path. The Source Creator had a very strong soul's blueprint for me that I had chosen. This was going to be the lifetime that many other things that I'd wanted to do in other lifetimes that didn't get a chance to do, but this was a lifetime my teams were just piling everything on me. So it didn't matter how tough things were. My teams keep saying to me that you've been through much worse in the galaxy. So you can take on so much more. And they call me like this chug a train, if you will. They say there's so much that you can carry. Like you've been planetary leaders before, so you're just not remembering it here on your Earth experience. And so this is what I'm here to also empower and remind you as a soul activator. I'm here to remind you through my light codes, through my activations, through my stories, through my multi-vibrational books and wisdoms and videos, that everything that I do is here to prepare you to be your most expansive version of who you are with Source, and to become that most abundant version of you. Because there's nothing more profound than those that will always remember you as being so spiritually abundant and rich. Because again, as we're seeing, all of those that have been in the collective that have posed and clouted themselves as so important and so very rich and valuable, that they're really being faced with blockages and stoppages because they have to face themselves at a spiritual level, and they haven't done any of that excavation. They haven't done any of that observation or reflection. And so this is why I've come forward with everything that I went through, is I did make very purposeful, the downloads that I had, I was very purposeful in what I created, because it's how I navigated when nobody was showing me. This is how I navigated. I get pen and paper and I navigate my way through challenge. I navigate my way through. If I didn't know anything about anything, how would I get through what I'm going through? So these are all of the resources in my intellectual property that I've made to help people understand that it's okay that we use, the visual things that we actually need. I had this download when I was in the dentist, and I had a lot of mouth problems that I usually didn't have, and it's because I was preparing for more channeling. So Spirit was telling me that there was a lot of clearing that had to be done in the throat because there was so much dark energy there. So I was going through a lot of mouth problems with my wisdom teeth, and there was something that was going on in one of my jaws or something, and then I had all of my metal fillings taken out, and I had ceramic fillings put on, porcelain, I think. And so they gave me this in the chair as I was being drilled on and stuff, because I was just relaxed and said, okay, what am I going to do? Is there going to be there for 2 hours? So I just went into a meditative state, and they downloaded this to me of the triad of the universes and how the energies were going back and forth, and how Source moves energies, and Source is the ultimate alchemist. So Source, creator, the omnipresent, is in all aspects of all movement. And whatever energy needs to be here and there, because Source knows the ultimate blueprint for all of these universes. So the greater Source creator is saying, okay, well, let's put that energy here, let's put that energy there. Source is the ultimate magician. And Source will move and mix energies, and showing me that I'm a master alchemist, and showing me that no matter what energy is upon my back, or no matter what I can carry, I can manifest and I can alchemize it into something new. And how am I going to, so this is what I wanted to say. Those of you that have been on the path for a very long time, make no mistake that as you're entering into this new cycle of ascension, your teams and your Source creator will give you little things that are going to be placed in front of you, and it's like the clay, and you get to mold it however you choose through your alchemy. Because you want to have testing of yourself, as we said earlier, continually breaking and then making you new again, and that's like that diamond in the rough. And why my next phase is going to have all of the attributes of what I've been through, and then it's going to come together in a beautiful package that I'm going to be taking it to the collective, and really, moving in and with the collective to share these first-hand teachings of alchemy, the first-hand teachings of being multidimensional, vibrationally celestial and alien and human-spirited, all harmonized as one. But you're going to be placed with these challenges in front of you so that you can learn how to alchemize and really make your garden your garden. If you were going to have little gnome structures or fairy structures, what would they be? So just take it as kind of metaphors. Whatever is in front of you, whatever challenge is in front of you, that you're meant to be with certain types of people to pull out those wounds so that you can really get to the nitty-gritty gifts of who you are as the master alchemist. And this is where I always see Father, which is kind of like the bigger Merlin, if you will, always taking me in the back room and the curtains close, and the Father is always working with me and showing me how much, reminding me how much of a leader, how much of a teacher and a spiritualist that I am, to bring the spiritual teachings of all the heavens, of all the shamans, of the different tribes that I've been on, the Dogons and the very ancient tribes of Earth, and just bringing them forward in us. So just know every day when you're absolutely setting your foundation that you do have these experiences. And even though if you don't have the visions, because I'm a visionary, so I do have a lot of visions, and that's how I write these things down, because I get the downloads, right? But even if you don't have the visions, know that you can set the intention, and when you set the intention, that opens up the field for Source and your teams to give you what it is that you need. So if you want more visions, then ask your teams, can I have more visions in my third eye? Can you bring me more inspirations in my field to do with my highest vocational experience? Can you give me books that just fly off the shelf at me? Or a conversation that comes up in my everyday experience so that I know, kind of where to navigate. And this is why I've done this work. Because when I was doing it, nobody was showing me. So I said, well, what can I create so that people can see how they can navigate this beautiful world of spirit so that they can really feel themselves as spiritually and soulfully abundant. That's the beauty of knowing Source, of being with Source. Because Source will take you on these beautiful journeys like Source does with me, and Source does this with every child on earth. Source has a beautiful, special time with you and will show you the beauty of who you are as light, and will show you all of the worlds and the realms that you've created with Source, and all of your beautiful gifts and skills and talents that only you and Source have created. But you need to remember that you have this divine relationship that nobody's taught you about. And this divine relationship is knowing that you are the mother and the father, and there are gifts and skills within your soul's blueprint that span all planets, all realms, all dimensions, all experiences, all tribes, all bodies, all forms, all sexes, all genders, and all of these things, the amalgamation of who we are. So why would we ever go into our collective and say, let's just start judging and let's start defining and let's start discriminating in these ways so that only these people, supersede all, and only these people will be the rich and the elite while everybody else suffers. So we're really having to face and look at things. And what we see in our collective right now is it's kind of a strike, on the North American side, as we've seen in our structures of school and education and mail and, all the government experiences. They're wanting to take a look at having a strike so that they can look at things from a different perspective in the hangman, point of view, so that they can come out with some higher experiences and start creating in an abundant way that is more spiritually aligned, that is the sacred Trinity. Because as we said, your businesses are not going to move forward unless it's aligned with the sacred Trinity. And people have to come up with that on their own. They're going to have to say, why is my business not working? Well, because it's based on old world models. It's based on 3D models where, dog eat dog and winner take all. That's not the energy of what is now. So you have to be aligned with the sacred Trinity. And so anybody that wants any sessions like that, just get in touch with me. And so what we thought we'd do, so I just want to share some of those stories because they're really beautiful. Know that when you're moving about the planet and you're moving about your highest and your best path, that mother and father will just place those experiences in your path for many, many reasons. It'll feed the soul. And this is what I say about doing the dodecahedron work, because I do the work. I know how Father shows me these multidimensional blessings. Because the blessings will never ever come, and not always come in how you need it or what you need it, because we're getting away from the old world models. It was all about money, and it was all about things, right? And superficiality. Because that's what the world was showing us, is that what was important, but it's not at all. It's quite the opposite. We are important souls, and everything that we shine within ourselves, within those soul fragments of magnetics, of those, bringing those magnetic skills and talents, bringing the magnetics of who we are from the multidimensional vastness of who we are, that's going to be the true abundance, and that's going to be the ways that will pave the new creative arts and entertainment field, that will create this new beautiful medical and earth healing field. There's going to be so much that we're going to be just going in these beautiful, beautiful directions, and the starseed children are going to just lift it right up to a whole new level. And we are preparing that for the children. We're preparing this highly creative, highly intelligent, highly diverse, highly intellectual, multi-dimensional foundation and vocations. And so just know that we're just at the precipice, and you should be very proud and give yourself celebration time and really sit in honor with Mother Father and ask them to come in and do this communion work with you as often as possible. As I say, I break down in tears all the time when Father shows me all the things that he's doing with me, just preparing me to be a better world leader and to have my gifts and skills come forward in new ways. And so just ask that for the Father and your teams and your guides to start guiding you and giving you visions, giving you stories, giving you books, and however it is that you need it. But that's what I said. You have to sit down and you have to intend that alignment time with Spirit. And your alignment time is what? It's a time where you connect with intention, and it's time where you build relationship with Spirit. And if you do so, then it's going to make those times where you are stepping into a leadership position and Spirit places somebody in your path, and you'll just know what to do because you've excavated it before, right? Like if I hadn't done this excavation 100 times, if I hadn't done this, oh my God. I had like lockers filled with journals that was just this. So if I hadn't done that millions of times, I couldn't be able to sit here and say, what are your blocks and how can you get to it? And it's just a matter of, magnetics and vibration that I can see, boom, 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 boom. But it's because I've worked through it a million times. Father saw that I did the work, and Father saw the universe was preparing me vibrationally in different ways to be a conduit, to read things at different levels, to read things at different depths, to read things in different mannerisms. Because again, everybody has seen their reality from different perspectives. You might have somebody that's very, very dense, that is very new to the earth and doesn't have a lot of multidimensional experience because of maybe they're really in a reptilian primordial energy, and their DNA or their hybrid energies have not been activated in the crystalline perspective of the DNA. So all of this is very new to them. So we have to understand that as healers and teachers and leaders, we have to understand that the people before us are all seeing the reality from very different perspectives of density and very different perspectives of crystalline energy. So we have to know that those that are very high in crystalline energy, we can see things like this in a multidimensional perspective. We can see how the body orates its light and how it moves its light. We can see the different structures of different beings and different celestials and how they carry their light and how they carry who they are and what their nourishment needs and what their souls need. We're going to be much more focused on what can we do to create and promote soul nourishment. That's how we heal. And I've always said that in all of my books, the expression, the second E, exploration and expression, is the greatest part of our healing. Because if we're not expressing and moving that energy, then it's going to remain blocked, and the chakras really slow down, and those discs don't open up for that wisdom and information that comes out and jets out that more multidimensionality of who you are. And so all of these are very, very, it's very needed, and it's nice to have people that are at different levels of consciousness awareness, different levels of consciousness awakening, so that you can see, kind of where you're at, but don't compare by any means, but just take in the stories and say, oh, that's really wonderful. I like your perspective. And that's all the outer is. They're just stories of perspective for you to be a part of and for you to honor where you are, which I say in all of my shows, because there's been so many travesties in my life as far as people trying to harvest and take and clone and copy and, all of the crimes that were done. But if these people would have just sat and healed and done the work that we'd offered right from day one, they wouldn't be in the criminal situations that they're in right now. And so too is also that mirror of the collective governments in church and state. There's so much happening right now that's breaking. And so there is a time needed that it's okay for the governments and the systems of church and state to take a bit of a hangman mode so that they can see things from new perspectives, and how can they create that higher light, wisdom, intelligence, which they've been denying so profoundly. But perhaps that will allow them to wake up and see that, okay, maybe there is higher intelligence that's needed, because we cannot answer the questions from within the forest you stand within, and the breaking and the wreckage and the tower that's falling and crumbling around you, right? You have to absolutely call in those that have a higher perspective and higher knowledge and higher wisdom and the alignment right to source, right? Because that is the highest path. That's the highest order. So very happy about that. And so, did I say everything I wanted to say, Spirit? And so let's tap in. Let's tap in. We're going to look. And so just before we tap in, I wanted to give you these images just for you to see and lock in your third eye. Just get yourself comfortable. We're going to do visualization, and then we're going to tap into the galactic federations. And then we're going to talk about sculpting, right? I want to talk about sculpting, my sculpting sessions, my healing sessions that I do at night. So again, if anybody wants to make a donation, I would absolutely love it. I have all of my all of the things that are in arrears because of people refusing to pay me, that I have to get these things caught up. There's a huge financial mess that I have to fix and clear. I've made a confirmation again that there's only 2 ways to contact me. All of the information is found on YouTube. The bank is the best place to send it. They know me, and it's a state-of-the-art bank, so they have lots of cameras there and video cameras, and they know me there. So it's going to be the best place to send anything is through that bank, and then just attention client pickup with my name. And then through PayPal. And there is a special comment box in PayPal that you can put comments about if you're looking for a collaboration discussion, or if you're looking for a 90-minute session, then you can book that and just put it in the comments and your contact information for me to contact you with some links for a session. I don't know how I'm going to give that session because my phone is all screwed up because of all the things that are in arrears. So Spirit's been allowing me to have all these beautiful things just work for me. Spirit is so beautiful and just allowing things just to work for me, even though it's so messed up. So thank God for God. Thank God I'm here. I don't know how I made it, but they've let me know how much work I've done. So one day there's going to be one of the other channels like Daniel and one of the other channelers that'll come through and do a much more refined dictation of what I've really gone through, and how what I've gone through has helped the earth in breaking up social systems that have been absolutely enslavement. And you need to speak out on it, but we want to speak out on it in positive ways. We don't want to have any more looting. We don't want to have any more protesting. We're beyond that. We really want to empower our collective to behave in higher vibrational ways. There's no reason on our planet in this day and age for looting. There's no reason for this day and age for the children to be trafficked. There's no reason for this day and age for the discriminations to occur. There's no reason in this day and age for protesting where people are harmed and buildings are vandalized. There's no reason for it. We really want to take honor in becoming these high vibrational beings, because you are always being watched and you're always being tested through your own higher self and soul. And anything that you do in dishonor of the vibrational spiritual laws in the higher order, which we've talked about in all of our videos the last 3 or 4 years, based on what I've been through, is we're recognizing when corruption is corruption. We're recognizing when low group think produces very dangerous situations, and the debaucherous underground life creates very dangerous entity attachment, very dangerous degradation of health and wellness for your body. And we have to learn to how can we navigate into a healthier way and a healthier lifestyle, and calling out corruption every single time it occurs. Because it's not going to fix itself if we're not calling it out. And it can be done in a positive way where we're building bridges. And God always provides us with grace in every moment, so we can choose to act from a point of grace. And it might be the longer route, and it might be the long game, but it is always the highest game, because that's where you absolutely earn your spiritual abundance. And nobody will know what you know. And that's where you can stand proud on stage and say, wow, I know what I know. Thank you so very much. I love you. I love you so very much. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so just to let you know, by the way, because I don't know if everybody knows this, because I've been here forever, and most of the people that show up for my shows have been with me forever. So all of you know this. I'm a conduit, and when I do what I do, I see things like this, and I just pick up information that are the little tiny dots. I don't know if you can see them. This is what I see. This is what source is to me. This is source right here. Source and the omnipresent and everything. Then I just see things and I get a vibration. This might be Sirius. This might be the Pleiades. This might be Andromeda. This might be the Arcturians. This might be one being, but source will show me. And then I will be given one tiny little dot. And then I'll go to that dot in my consciousness, and then I'll read that dot. That's what conduits do. We have access to the omnipresent, and then we read specific information. So when I'm doing what I'm doing on my side, I try and explain and describe, define what I see in my third eye, so that you can have visualizations on how to start working with your energy and start working with your consciousness. Because you want to direct your consciousness from all that you are multidimensional, that Christed toolkit, from your clairsentience, your clairaudience, your clairtangence, your intention, your direction, your focus. Intention, direction, and focus is how you heal. Intention, direction, and focus is how you create your reality. Intention, direction, and focus is how you create youthfulness and going back in time on the age scale, if you will. Where we actually want to intend, no, I'm going to go back to an age of, say, 26. With my organs, with my health, with my blood, I can do that. I can create new synapses, pathways, where I can start navigating that. And that's through intention, focus, and preparation of understanding that you're using your consciousness. And that's what people misunderstand, because consciousness has been something that hasn't been explained. How I was downloaded this in the dentist chair was consciousness. Source said she's ready to see the triad of the multiverse and how it operates, and I was shown how it spins. I was shown the various infinities of energy going back and forth. That's what I was shown. I was shown the triad of the universe is absolutely spinning. And then I was given different downloads, and I think there's a video of way back, and I actually came forward with a channel of this download. So if you go back on my KCOR playlist, it will be there. And I don't remember what I called it. But anything that I do with this divine relationship, because it is one of my most important teachings, my most important download was this one. And it was about a 4-day download. I did a 4-day webinar on this divine relationship. And it was so profound. I just couldn't stop writing. I was writing. So like writing feverishly, all of these beautiful downloads. It was like, it was like a Bible that was downloaded to me. And I was so very grateful. And it's just something that has just been my most important. That's the staple of everything I teach. That's consciousness. That's the feeling of mother, father in the field. That's mother and father working together and moving energy, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to be so happy to bring forward, is the divine feminine, divine masculine in their roles of leaders, moving and creating as a multidimensional creators for the very first time ever. We have so much to look forward to. But this is where my role on the planet is going to be so important. And all of those that have been with me for so very long, I'm going to need helpers, where we're going to be helping new soulmates and new twin flames come together and understand their fields and create and co-create a beautiful earth that we can leave to the children, and we can leave the legacy to, and we can leave this beautiful, beautiful, they're saying trademark. I don't like that word. Maybe watermark. Maybe we're going to leave a beautiful watermark. So for all the galaxy, for all creation. And I know that I take it very not seriously, but I take it very passionately. That I know what I'm creating is very, very important vibrationally. I know what I'm creating very quantumly is very, very important. I feel it. I feel it at the quantum level. I feel these things occur. I feel the ripples. When Pluto came in and said, wow, Pluto felt that all the way over here, and we were over here doing a healing. I feel those things. And so I know what we're creating is very important, and I'm really grateful for all of those that have been with me for so very long. And every time I think about you and talk about you, I get all verklempt. You've come from the heavens from very important tribes that I've been with you, and the Father's showing me your comrades. The Father has dressed you as my loyal comrades. So he's saying dressed you because he's showing me of wearing the armor, the plate armor, back in the olden days, when they had horses and those long stick things, and they had the plates on their head. So that's what the Father's showing me. So he has, and this is the Father's doing, make no mistake about it. So if you felt over the years, really connected and you've always found my videos somehow, some way, the Father has allowed those experiences to keep being in your vibration so that we keep building those energies together, because there's also other realms where we're building things together, and we're just very, very good comrades. We understand the journeys that we've been on. I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Holy Father. I want to get going here because I want to do as much channeling as possible. So before we do channeling and open up to our teams and to Mother, Father, God, you're the omnipresent. You're a version of the omnipresent in a physical matter and crystalline experience, but also you're in the omnipresent. So visualize as much as you can. This is how you become greater in consciousness. Visualize as much as you can your sourceness. This is consciousness. And this is where you can direct your consciousness to one tiny little dot and then read it and expand it. You can go into the skin and repair skin and then heal it. Right? You can go into various parts of your body and you can expand it, right? You can reduce it, you can smooth it. So this is where we want you to get rich with your consciousness, get knowing with your consciousness. You're the sculptor, right? And then we also want you to look at your DNA. So we're going to talk about the DNA. We'll have a few seconds for the DNA. So just focus on bringing light to a codon. That one of these sections here is one codon, right? That's one part of the library. And you might think it's one book and you might think it's one story, but no, that codon is actually an entire section in the library. That's how much information is held in one codon. It's unbelievable how much is in one codon. And that's why, again, you've designed this of your soul's blueprint. It's very, very special and sacred. That's why I love teaching about it. Yeah, my knights in shining armor. And yet we take off the masks and we're so very rugged. Right? You take off the mask and we've got our goddess hair flying everywhere, like the girls that are on the motorbikes and you don't know if it's a man or if it's a woman. And then they take off their motorbike helmet. And they've got this beautiful wild goddess hair. I've always felt so envious of those ladies that get off those bikes. They scare the crap out of me. I had this boy that liked me in high school in grade 11, and he had one of those big, really fast bikes. And he would go really fast on all the time, and my dad really didn't like him. My dad would always wait out in the driveway every time he'd come and pick me up. He had a few cars, and he had a really fast bike, and he came to pick me up one night. And we went down to the beach. And he said, okay, we're gonna go fast. And I just thought, okay, well, it's still the beach, right? And I was checking out the signs of speed, And he was going like twice over the speed limit. And I was just like on the back of the bike going, okay, if this is where I die, I want the heavens to know that I actually hate this man and he's never ever going to come back into my life. He thought it was all funny. We get to the beach and he takes off his helmet and he's going, how'd you like that? He's all the, that big macho thing, right? And I was just like white. My face was like white as a ghost. And I was like, you ever fucking do that again, I'm never getting on this fucking bike. I was like swearing. I think that was our last date. And then the next door neighbor, which was I had a crush on the next door neighbor. He was always my crush. And then my dad always getting in the way. He said, make sure you look out for my daughter at the high school. So I didn't know this till after I graduated, that my dad had set up the neighbor who I had a crush on. I played road hockey with. I was a really, really good road hockey player. So the boys would always choose me because I was a good scorer and I was good in defense. And so I didn't find out till after I graduated that my dad had told him to watch out and make sure that he kept an eye on any boy that would ever come near me. And I didn't know this, and that's why I found out I didn't have any boyfriends like through all school except in grade 11. And he got really busy with his girlfriend and stuff, so he was busy. So I had a little doorway where I could have a boyfriend, where he wasn't coming around the high school hallways, right? Giving me that look if there was a boy talking to me. And he didn't really like the guy on the motorbike anyways, because he asked me on the Monday going to school. He was stopped me in the hallways at school and he said, what were you doing with Dan? And I said, he took me for a ride on his bike. And he says, because he's got all these different cars and vehicles, and right, he says, I've seen him come in his truck. What are you doing with him? I go, I don't know, I'm just going for a ride. That's what we do. We just go for a ride. We listen to loud music. That's it. And he goes, yeah. And he went and had a talk with him, and I didn't see him again. I didn't want to see him anyways. He's acting like a dick on his bike. You don't take a girl on a bike that fast. Anyways, I wasn't meant to die that day anyways. Here I am. I always know God's got me, but you don't put yourself in stupid situations, right? You tell your kids, no, you're going to take the bicycle course and you're going to make sure you have the best helmet, and then you're going to have a helmet on top of that helmet, and you're going to be decked out in all of the leather gear and all of the spine gear and all of that stuff, because you're not getting on a bike. I told my kids, you're not getting on a bike. And they said, what about a scooter? I said, no, I'm not getting a scooter. No, it's not going to happen. If I have to follow you around, I'm going to follow you around. You're not getting a motorbike. And then I always tell them about all the stories where, this happened to me when I was in school. I'm so lucky to be alive. I have so many stories. I really shouldn't be here. Thank you, God. Okay, let's all open up. Straight spine. We've got half an hour to really tap into spirit. We're going to align with spirit. So have that intention. I'm aligning with spirit. I'm creating a relationship with spirit. Breathe in. Full body breath. You should lift the whole cavity of all that you are and just call in light from Gaia. Call in light from Gaia and see yourself being bathed with golden crystalline light, transparent light. Bathe it over your body. Bathe it over your body. Bathe it over your body. Slowly exhale. You want your exhales to be very purposeful and slow. We want you to get used to consciousness. Where does consciousness begin? It begins with your intention, your direction, and your focus. And where does it begin? In your breath. So when you're breathing in, I'm giving you coaching on activating your consciousness with source as source. So take a full body, slow inhale. Your consciousness begins now. You're intent with your breath. Breathe in. Breathe in, you're harmonizing with source. You want to feel source, you want to feel spirit, you want to feel the angels, you want to feel your higher self, you want to feel the quantumness of who you are. Breathe in and hold when you get to the very top. You're aware of your consciousness, you're harmonizing with source, you're harmonizing with your higher self, you're harmonizing with all aspects of you. Slowly exhale, slowly. Your lips can be as close together as you can and just release a little bit of air at a time. Be purposeful with your consciousness. Through every chakra, bathe it light, bathe it light. You're becoming one with your consciousness. Your consciousness directs your matter. We want to make this very clear, because when you start working on health and beauty and youthfulness, your consciousness directs the matter. That is a knowing, that is a rule. So have that as thy name is. As thy name is, my consciousness directs my matter. So have that as your affirmation as you're breathing in and out. And breathe in source light. Straight spine, see the light going through the pillar of light, going through your spine, feeding your chakras, feeding your blood, feeding your organs, feeding your muscle tissues, feeding your skin, feeding your cells, feeding your hair, feeding your nails, feeling all that you are, and slowly breathe out, your lips slightly together, slightly apart, and slowly exhale. And as you exhale, see yourself breathing white crystalline light into your fields of light. As you exhale, you're breathing out the light. You're breathing out the light, you're breathing in the light. You're breathing out the light, you're breathing in the light. And from the center of who you are lit up. As we said in our video the other day, you are lit up from your chakras outwards. From your chakras outwards, you are lit. And anything that is dense in your fields is automatically being alchemized. That's why you go as slow as you can, because you want to press that light from the inside out. Press the light from the inside out, and as you're going down into the earth, feel yourself grounding from the base of the spine. That's where your reptilian cord begins. That's where your reptilian energy begins. That's where the kundalini begins. That's where the snake and that's where the reptile, that's where all your kundalini power is. It's at the base of your spine. Now we want to go even deeper. We want to take that exhale, go deeper into your soul star chakra, your earth star chakra. And go into the earth, and I always see my ancestors waiting for me at my earth star chakra. That's just how I visualize my ancestors. They are all aspects of all earths, of all planets, of all timelines. They assist me in being masterful matter. That's what ancestors mean for me. They're the ones that have been in matter form, body form, human form, or so, humanoid, if you will. And they are there to help with any planetary life. Your ancestors come from the Pleiades. Your ancestors come from Andromedas. Your ancestors come from Cassiopeia. So just know that your ancestors are in your earth star chakra, but they come from all planets, from all matter. And so they're assisting you into becoming masters of your matter crystalline body. You are here to be a Christ consciousness master. It has nothing to do with religion, as we've often told you. It's to do with your crystal, your consciousness. You're knowing how to breathe as a conscious creator. You are intentional with your breath. And breathe in one final time, and then we'll go to our connection. You're breathing in light. You're harmonizing with Mother, Father, God. You're harmonizing with the divine feminine, divine masculine energies. You're harmonizing with the right and left side. You're harmonizing with your axional lines. You're harmonizing with all of your soul fragments, all of your soul aspects, calling in the soul fragments, calling in your light, calling in your energy, and return it back to you now. And say it with an affirmation so your cells and your fields hear you. I recall my light and my energy now. I recall my light and my energy now. I recall my light and my energy now. And feel it go back to your center, your pillar of light, your chakras, and everything is returning to you now. And your higher self is always the gatekeeper. Know that. As my name is, my higher self is my gatekeeper. My higher self will only allow energies that will allow me to expand within my divine soul's blueprint. And again, you can listen to this video over and over again to practice this daily. My higher self will give me the highest and the best vibrations for healing, for knowing, for expanding in who I am. My higher self is always connected with Mother, Father, God. My higher self will always nourish me with the highest vibration of information and wisdoms. My higher self is all that I am. And that is what is meant by I am that I am. I am my higher self. I am the highest aspects of Mother, Father, God. That is the higher self. The higher self will never misguide you. The higher self will never tell you to hurt anybody or yourself. The higher self will always guide you in your highest and your best. Your higher self knows all for you. And it is seen through the pineal all the way up to the heavens, and in every chakra, in every cell, every moment, every breath. Your higher self is always listening, and your higher self is always responding. This is a knowing. The soft little voice that is not negative ego, that is the higher self. The higher self will always say, try again. This time be softer and love yourself. Try again, you're doing so well. Get up and try again, it's just about over. Try it this time with a smile and see what happens. That's the higher self. Simple statements of oneness, simple statements of love. Simple statements of, you can do this, you're source creator. You can do this, you know who you are as quantum light. You can do this, you know who you are as quantum. Remember who you are at a soul level. And so in that, just intend for your chakras to be open so that your chakras can have activation of the light with your healing teams that are bathing you and having light adjustments, energy adjustments. Just know that your teams are always with you, providing any Alchemic experiences, any shifts in any modalities or smoothing out of energy in your fields, just ask for it. I'm asking for any releasing, any movement, any transformations, any alchemy that I might need. Just know that it will be done. This is a knowing. This is how you work with your teams, because you have a relationship with them. And you say, thank you and so grateful. The gratitude and the appreciation opens up the portal to Mother, Father, God. Opens up the portal to omnipresent source. And that is within your chakras, it's within your DNA, it's within the omnipotent. So be very grateful and all that is appreciative. And I show you in all of my videos how I get very emotional about the people and about the energies and about the experiences that mean so much to me. That is my spiritual abundance. And it will always make you feel grateful that it doesn't matter what you're going through in life. No matter what's taken from you, it's meant to be taken from you, because there's much better coming in different ways. We're moving into 5D. What we're going to experience in 5D is going to be much more spiritually and soulfully abundant. And is that okay for you? Can you visualize your life looking different? Can you visualize your life in the next 6 months having to maybe downsize and simplify your life from where you live to how you live? Remember, how you do and what you do will determine where you are and how you get there. You're not going to necessarily need what you thought you needed. You might want a more simpler lifestyle so that you can do more of what you want to do. Travel, write books, help the people heal, help create new systems, help be a part of the foundations that are the very first foundations of a very first ascended earth. Doesn't that sound exciting? Doesn't that sound exciting? You want to think about your 3D job and say, what the fuck? You know, I got to be a part of this beautiful new earth creatorhood. I get to be a creator god on a brand new earth that's ascending. This is a monumental task in the universe, and there are many beings across the multiverse that are watching us, and we're acting as if this isn't a big deal. This is a very big deal, people. You get to be a part of the very foundations of New Earth Star. You get to understand consciousness at a higher level that's never been brought before. You get to actually pay attention to your breath and ignite new consciousness of Source Creator in your breath and bring new energy to Earth every time you move forward. Every time you do one of these activations, you are changing the alchemy of you. You're changing the biosphere of you. You're changing the inner outer of you. You're changing the cell direction of you. And especially if you use affirmation and your real voice. Use your voice. Command your loving body in directions of health and youthfulness. I'd like to sculpt with my body with Source Creator. Can you show me how to sculpt my body? Get a visualization of what any aspect of your body part might want to look like. Because we can grow appendages, we can do these things. Our consciousness is infinite. And I've been working with sculpting my body. Because what I've been going through the last couple of years, I've lost so much weight, and then I started to gain it back a little, but I wanted to be purposeful in where I was gaining the weight. I wanted the weight to go to certain areas because my booty wasn't as bootylicious as it used to be. So I wanted to sculpt a bit more, whatever I was going to gain was be a bit in my booty, and then, you know, have a bit more in my voluptuous areas, because I want to be that divine goddess where I'm full and I'm voluptuous. That's what I love to see, a woman that is, you know, like that, and really proud of her being a goddess energy and her beautiful curves. And so I've been sculpting with Source, and I've been focusing on what do I really want my body to feel like when I'm shooting hoops. How does that feel for me? Do I want the extension in my arms and slightly leaning forward at the waist? And I'm going to need a strong core. So I focus my core energy. So let's do this right now. We'll do a sculpting session. So go to your core energy, which is right at your navel, and just touch your navel with one of your fingers, your middle finger, and just softly touch your navel, just below your navel, about 1 inch or 2 inches below your navel. And how does it feel? Does it feel soft? Does it feel firm? Now we want you to focus on the core vibration. The core vibration is at the very base of your spine, is that Kundalini. And just pull that base of your spine up to the navel. Just pull it up like a little string. Just pulling it up with your consciousness. And you'll see from your hip bone. Place your fingers on your hips. And now you feel the muscle that runs from your hips to your under your navel. And then the cord that runs from the base of your spine up to your navel. And then go to the other hip. There's a cord that goes from your hip flexor, your hip disc, and then it comes up under your navel. That's the core. And then when you focus on pulling in the thread that is behind the navel to the back of the spine, that's your core. That's your core. And so how you walk with this core is going to be helping you sculpt the rest of your torso, the rest of the lower body. Your core is so important to your health. Just like the heart is very important to all the chakras below it and above it. Your core is very important to your muscles and bones below it and above it. Your core vibration says that I am that I am. I am centered. I have all of the strength of my tissues and my muscles. It's pulled together. I'm concentrating my consciousness to have a strong back. I'm pulling in my muscles, and this will take practice, because if you're not used to working with your core, Pilates videos and Pilates beginner workouts, if you go to any Pilates beginner workouts, they work and they focus on the core. The core is so important because that's where we hold most of our negative energy, is in the lower belly area. So we really want to pay attention to strengthening the muscles and allowing the energy that's not meant to be there to move. And so now that you have your core, and if you just touch your belly again, just underneath your navel, and you should feel it a little bit tighter, because you want to pull that string together and just pull it up to maybe your heart chakra. So just pull that little string up and just have a tight core. And just visualize the hand of God, or your hand that is crystalline. It's transparent light. It's transparent see-through hand. And it's got the little axonal lines on your hands. You got little chakras on your fingers. Your hands are filled with little pressure points. Your hands are filled with light points. And just softly rub the belly. Softly rub the belly from the side in and just sculpt it. Just sculpt the skin very softly. And we want you to think lovingly. Think lovingly, because you're pressing the loving light into your tummy. My body is being felt with light, and I'm smoothing the skin to be taut and radiant. My skin is healthy and radiant. And just softly press like you're pressing a beautiful soft clay. This is sculpting sessions. It's like clay. It's very soft. It's very elegant. And you can move down to your quads and pull your hand up from your knees. From your knees, just smooth your hand up your quads. And just a soft pressing, and just feel the light from your hands going into your skin. And you just see the light going into your skin, and just softly pressing, smoothing out dimples, smoothing out scars. I'm sculpting my legs, and say it out loud. I'm sculpting my legs with light. I'm sculpting my legs with Mother, Father, and my healing teams. You want to appreciate your legs for all that they do for you. You want to appreciate the muscles and sculpt the other leg. Come from your knees and work way up, because you want to go up into the heart direction. You always want to work your energy up to the heart direction, and slowly sculpt, and just sculpt. Just feel your body, feel your skin, love your skin. And know that you're pressing light consciousness into your body. I love my body. I want my body to be beautiful and soft and radiant and smooth. It's done a great job for me. It's carried me through many challenges. I've loved my body, and I'm going to learn to make love to my body in different ways, through health and youthfulness. I want my body to be youthful again. So say that word, youthfulness. What does it look like? See the light going into your skin, going into your cells. My skin is youthful. My skin is taut. My skin is radiant. I'm turning back the hands of time. And give yourself an age you want to focus on, and just keep with that age. You'll come up with it intuitively. It might be 33. Might be 26. When you remembered, you want your cell memory to go back to that time when you were in shape, and you were active, and you were healthy, and you breathed a different breath. But now you're going to add a higher consciousness to that age. And so program that. My body was healthy then. I was healthy. I loved how I looked. It was very beautiful. There's cell memory in the tissues. There's cell memory in the muscles. There's cell memory in how you felt about yourself. But now you want to add a 5D consciousness. You want to add the crystalline light. So put it in your hands. I'm adding the 5D consciousness to my sculpting. I love that version of how I looked when I was 33. I had a beautiful body. I loved it. It was curvy. I loved wearing a bikini. I loved how I felt. I'm massaging myself in beautiful, luxurious, sexy ways. You like to feel sexy. You want to see yourself dance around the house in sexy ways. You want your body to come to life again. Remember, I've coached my clients on this many times. Sometimes when you get over a certain age and you get in relationships and marriages, you lose the effect of wanting to be playful with your life force. So this sculpting session helps you be playful with your life force again. So get reconnected and aligned with your life force. Your life force is everything to your health. So just activate. I activate my life force, and if you activate your life force, your body might start to feel goosebumpily. I activate my life force as you're sculpting up. And you're just feeling your hands create smooth, tight skin along your legs. Smooth, tight skin along the hips. And slowly press back into the belly, into the core. And it's okay that you have a soft little jiggle. That's cute too. That's very sexy in a lot of the Eastern world and the Eastern traditions. A little bit of belly and a little bit of jiggle there is very, very sexy. So love that. Just smooth shaping, soft and gentle. Activate your life force. You're giving your life force back to your body. So important. And see that perfect age. Your cells are going to remember what it was. Your legs will remember what it was like to be 33. Your legs will remember what it looks like to take care of your legs and proper stretching, proper care, proper hydration. Give your life force back to your body. This is consciousness, dear lighted ones. You're consciously working God back into your body. You're consciously working with light. You're consciously asking Source and asking Spirit to be one with you in your love of your body again. You want to be a fifth dimensional goddess. You want to be a fifth dimensional God of getting connected with your body, getting connected with your life force and bringing it back into the cells, bringing it back into the muscle tissue and creating that cell memory of when you are very healthy and where you're very, fit. And you had that excellent cardio, you had that excellent feeling about yourself, but you're going to add that 5D consciousness now. You're going to guide it. It feels really good. And just put your hands on your solar plexus and your divine sacred heart. And just say, from here on out, I promise to every day give myself time and attention with breath, with intention, with focus and direction of my life force, direction of love and light, direction of feeling youthful again, that I am the creator, I am the absolute manifester of my matter body, of its health, of its renewal, of my cellular renewal, of my synaptic pathways, of my telomeres, and all the things that create higher intentional thought, rewiring of capacity and aptitude, the health of your muscles and the bones, and your organs, and your heart. And we want to place a beautiful crystalline light right in the center of your heart. We want you to feel the love of Mother, Father, God, to know that you are here at this time to create and manifest your most divine lifetime, so that you share your love, you share your gifts and your skills, and you share all that you are in the highest passion of who you are. And that you will be given infinite opportunities on land, in your consciousness and in your visions and dreams, and of those celestials on land and ocean and air, and all that is fairy and all that is elemental. In anything that you can imagine, Source gifts it to you. And just feel how much Mother, Father love you. And feel within your heart as you're just feeling so much love, you're giving it back to yourself. The consciousness of you is awakening to the unconditional love that is always within your heart space, to allow you to grow into the master of consciousness, and that is the highest, truest power. And you will always be guided with benevolence and the higher and the greater good. And you will always be guided by the laws of the universe, and you'll always be guided by light. For that is what I am, and I seek it. The Holy Mother and the Father, thank you. And they say that we never leave you, children. We never leave you. We are always within your heart space. We love you. So now when you're in this beautiful open space, just relax your tummy. And it's okay. It feels a little jiggly. It feels a little soft. Just when you're working on your sculpting, just call in the core energy. You want to tighten that core energy because it creates youthfulness. It creates that muscular definition. So we have a few minutes left, and we want to do a bit of tapping into the fields and the teams. And if there's any information that would like to come forward or downloaded into the field through our visions, through our clairsensing, or our clairknowing, is there any messages that would like to come through for the collective right now, Holy Spirit, through Commander Ashtar and my teams and my guides and my higher self? And through the federations of light, thank you, Holy Spirit, and systems of light, and the beautiful hybrid co-creations, and we're creating this beautiful new omnipresent for a new Earth star. I'm so very, very excited to bring forward any stories and any energies and any remembrances and inspirations that I can to ignite new energies for those that so desire, to think that it's such a profound time on Earth right now. that we're shifting into a consciousness, and you get to be the curator of the story. You get to be the curator of what your legacy will be. It's so very exciting. This is your legacy, dear lighted ones. Never before will this ever happen again. It's very, very profound, and you are right here at the leading edge of it. We love you so very much. So just tap into the messages and the downloads. And Systems of Sirius are so happy to be with you. We are the joyful ones that like to tickle you and remind you that life cannot be so serious. We spend most of our time in play. We spend most of our time exploring all of our lands. And we look down within the portals of that we create through their consciousness, through their planets, and they're constantly watching us, and they're constantly, sending us love and information, and they're guiding us along the path. If you want to tap into and ask for any Sirian connections you have, I always feel them very light and bubbly. They're always very, very light and bubbly. Whenever I tap into the Sirians, they're like little. I see them as like little tiny children that like to get into a little curious. Little mischievous, little mischievous things as they're running about the planet. That's how I see them. They say, "No, come on, mommy, let's play." They remind me to play. Yes, children. Yes, children, let's go play in the garden. Hooray, hooray. We'll come back in and have some lunch. And so let's tap into any messages. Systems of light are here to guide you. There will be many things that you will be feeling in your upcoming days, and there will be many things you'll be seeing in your upcoming days that are absolutely the orchestration of the Divine Holy Mother and Father, and the very many beings that are working beyond your understanding as far as leadership. So just know that as we have energies on our planet that are like, leadership and, presidents and world leaders like that, there's always those that are above them in spirit that are helping move and direct Earth into these new shifts, right? Interdimensional shifts, so that there's always those spiritual beings, the spiritual higher order that guide me. They're the ones that are going to be moving and shifting things and make sure people where they're meant to be. So just go with it. If you're really guided to be somewhere, your spirits and the teams in the higher order teams, there's going to be shifts and things moving so that these new earth, I just see them like new plants coming up through the soil, right? It can be blossomed. They're saying new Earth Star seeds that are being activated. Your dreams, your wishes, right? What will new Earth Star look like? They'll have better systems of healing. They'll have absolutely open, diverse, magnificent, creative entertainment and arts that is so very directly related to our healing, to our expansiveness, to our exploration of all that we are as multiverse beings. I'm super excited about that foundation. We've been so held back in such restriction. My goodness, we've got so many places to jet out into, don't we? We're multiverse beings, dear lighted ones. That's what the arts and entertainment is about. It's about play, and it's about theater, and it's about drama, and it's about creating through those emotions and allowing us to be okay that every story is so very powerful in the remaking and rebuilding of New Earth. And all of the species that will be here in generations to come. Feel very, very excited about what you're here to create, dear lighted ones. And the seeds that you plant every day are so important. Direction, intention, and focus. Focus on that new light of entertainment. Focus on that new experience that you choose to bring forward as your gifts and your experience and your expertise. The Father will be shifting all of you. Celebration in this, dear lighted ones. This is your time. These are your celebration times, your coronation times, your graduation times, your medallion times, where you get a medallion on your star suits. Do you see them? Let's visualize our star suits right now, spirit, everybody, before we leave. What does your star suit look like? They're nanotechnology, beautiful star suits, those of us that are into fashion. I see mine. I fashioned it to be a very glorious pearl-like silver. It's a form-fitting suit. It's a lycra kind of suit, but it's nanotechnology. It's a one-body suit. And it's got beautiful colors of my favorite colors of yellow and sage. In deep purple. And I love the shoulders, so I'm going to have little shoulder pads on mine with triangles and sacred geometry, medallions. And I will absolutely be wearing my stones of my crystals on my jewelry and my wrists and my bracelets. And maybe a gold template for my third eye. I'll have a little tiara that has a little gold thing at the third eye, because I am a master. I've been many planets and many. So sometimes the medallions that you wear and your jewelry that you wear will state to others that you are visiting in other planets and every other species and other councils you represent. It's a status of where you've been and your expertise. So it might be in land teaching. So you might have symbols of the land. Your headwear and your headdress and different tattoos on the face and how you wear your hair and you adorn your body. Some celestials don't adorn and some celestials adorn. It's all different. It's all diverse. What does your star suit look like? And you know that your star suit can change with your consciousness. Just like we were showing you the breath exercise. You're calling light in, you're exhaling light. You're calling light in, you're exhaling light. And so too does your nanotechnology. It can change through your consciousness. If your consciousness is going out from your light ship and stepping on a new planet, your nanotechnology needs to change, because your nanotechnology suit will have to change and adjust for the frequencies and the energies and the oxygen and the different temperatures and gases that are on that planet you're stepping down to. Every planet is different, and your nanotechnology will know that. You'll have done your research before you landed, before you stepped out of your light ship. This is your consciousness interacting with all that is. You're godly. Of course it will. And it's just changing through a thought. The clothes that you are, you don't have to put them on. Your nanotechnology changes through your thought. So just see your clothes just appear. It will reappear and disappear. This is who we are as godly beings. Allapakadekina kata ke sishiyama te shishiyama te teke ama tikishia 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 mata kishinaka. I can do anything. I can do anything. Tekemakata keshinamaka te sinamaka. Now we're going to ask you a very special question before we go, dear lighted ones. On your star suit, do you have a belt? I was always known in my fashion consulting. I was known as the belt lady. I could style anyone with a belt. What did your belt look like? And the trend right now is to wear many belts. But does your star suit have a belt, and what does it look like? Does it have a medallion? Where is it presented, low or high, right in the middle? Is there jewels on it? Is there crystals on it? Now, you don't need any holsters for any ammunition or any guns or anything, because your consciousness is everything. Anything that is frightening before you can just ask it to move. That's your consciousness. You create it, you can make it disappear. Right? That's your consciousness. If something is unhealthy on your body, you can create it to be healthy. This is your consciousness. This is 5D, dear lighted ones. Welcome to New Earth Star. Take a deep breath, and we want you to ground these new introductions, these visualizations, and these ideas and concepts and musings and pretendings and explorings and ponderings, and ground it into the New Earth Star. These are your grids. These are your intentions of wonderment. These are your intentions of sacred play. These are your intentions of becoming 5D. Did you have fun today, dear lighted ones? How are you feeling? Wasn't that fun? I got goosebumps everywhere. It's so very wonderful playing with consciousness. It feels so good. And every time you do consciousness interactions like that, you actually reduce your, you actually slow down the aging process, because you're calling in spirit to harmonize with all that you are. So just know that it's always very, very, very beneficial for you to take as much meditation time as possible, because you actually stop the aging process. And for those of us that just love being around forever, as much as people would like me to leave this earth, no, I'm going to be here for a very long time. So get used to it. That's a little digging, right? Fooled ya. I'm going to be here forever. So, dear lighted ones, did everybody have fun? We love you. And see if you can see yourself checking yourself out in the mirror today. Okay, love your body. You know, feel sexy with your body. We had a few videos about self-pleasuring. This is all about activating and bringing new youthfulness and light and health to your life force and your pleasuring. Pleasuring your body with sculpting sessions, pleasuring your body with light sessions, pleasuring your body with deep tissue massage, pleasuring your body with Epsom salts baths, and putting the petals of flowers, right? Yeah, don't wait for anybody else to give you orgasm. Give it to yourself. I know I'd be waiting forever. I've been celibate for 15 years. No, yeah, I'm having my orgasms. Get out of my way. Time for me to visualize. So just know that, and again, that when you orgasm as well, just knowing this, it absolutely creates greater youthfulness inside of you as well. All of the beautiful chemicals. You're just intending, tantric energy movement that's very sacred. Tantric is sacred. It's meant to be sacred. It's meant to be shared with sacred partners that care about you and love you and want that sacred exchange to be sacred as well, right? You're not meant to share that tantric energy willy-nilly with just anybody. It's meant to be a very sacred experience because you want the energy, you want that life force to be given. It's like that burst of, B12, if you will. And that's what it feels like, right? So it does bring greater youthfulness to your body, your cells, and your muscles, and all your tissues. So that's what we want. And so just know that, right? You're here to enjoy your body. You're here for others to enjoy your body, and just be responsible and open and honoring with that. And start feeling yourself into a 5D experience. Your consciousness is everything. You're here to be pleasured. You're here to feel pleasure. You're here to give pleasure in responsible and honoring ways. And you're here to honor the exploration of your soul's journey in responsible and honoring ways. And speak lovingly and positively without protest or without damage or looting or vandalism. We want to be responsible in how we're moving about the planet because we truly care about Gaia. She will be healing us and taking us to places we've never seen or known before, but it's the first time ever for humanity. So we're very, very happy to be along with this ride. We thank you so much to Source Creator. We thank our teams. We thank our healing teams. We thank our higher self for always showing us the way, for guiding us to the people we need to meet and the things we need to see and do differently so that we're on this ride for the long term and the long haul and the long game. I always say I'm here for the long game, right? The little short rides are, it's over and then it's okay. So thank you, dear lighted ones. Our time is up. We love you so very much. Any bookings, any sessions, lectures, webinars, donations, I would love for any help that you can offer. That would be really great. We love you so very much, and we're sending you love and light, and we're sending you namaste. Have fun with your body, have fun on the planet, and know that you are loved by Mother, Father, God, and everybody. We love you so very much. Bye, everybody. It's paypal.me/Joanna L. Ross. Okay, bye.